ṣáá ní bàbá gbogbo àwa ní bàbá. Vicinity FM 95.3 ẹranko tí ó ṣe bí olólàájú kò sí nígbó Àjíkẹ́ Adé erin lákàtàgbò erin àwa gòkè á lọ ìyẹ́lẹ̀.
Enjoy. Top of the morning, it's Vicinity 95.3 FM, your darling station. We're here again this morning, the 7th day in the 7th month. Yes, it's 7-7. What's your number? And we're grateful for the dawn of today. Despite it's a cloudy sky, you know what they say, that even the sun gets weak the first time it rises and gathers strength and courage as the day goes on. So when you rise today and feel, oh, my body is doing me somehow, or I'm feeling a type of way, I'm not feeling energetic to get up, just get up first and see, it might just be your best day yet. So I'm encouraging you this morning, you know, not to give up. Just go out there. It's Monday. You know what they say about Monday. It's always good to start well on Monday. It just set the tone for the rest of the week. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm Oluwafunke Israel. It's good to be here this morning, taking you on the ride on Newspaper Review, where we bring you all of the top stories on our dailies and also the details of this story. How are you this morning?
Yeah, good morning, and it's a beautiful morning, although cloudy, like Funke said here. Yes, but I hope you won't let this cloudy weather let you stay at home and not being productive for the day.
Stay at home. If you have a job, if you're not doing a business of your own, and you have a job where you get paid, you know.
Yeah, for those that have salary earners,
yeah,
please don't even.
You will not. You say you will not show up. Are you kidding? I would be the first person to remove from your salary from here.
So let's be productive today, because Monday is the beginning of another week. Although Sunday I've started the week, but today Let's be productive. And I am Aisha Ibrahim. Do join us on our Facebook page on Vicinity 95.3 FM.
Yeah, and we're also on YouTube, same Vicinity 95.3 FM. Now look at the stories before me. What I have here with a Nigerian Tribune, Punch newspaper, The Guardian, and the Daily Trust.
Yeah, this morning I have the Nation newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, and the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, let's begin with it. I will take on the first story on Nigerian Tribune. The story is on Nigerian Tribune. I'm going to contest for presidency in 2027. Obi wants the North to trust him. Dismisses VP slot deal with Atiku. Justifies romance with ADC. Killings. Tinubu orders military to crush terrorist bandits. 39 die in Kano, Lagos Ogun crashes. We're yet to receive CTC of judgment on Natasha. That's certified true copy of the judgment on Natasha Poti Senate and Kogi lawmakers vows to resume tomorrow. ADC plots to test coalition strength with Lagos LG poll. Old talks with PDP LP candidates. Again, Wike berates coalition's leadership accuses them of seeking power for personal interest. Northeast stakeholders hold pre-summit celebrations ahead of the Patriots confab. This is going to be a tough one. Just recently, the vice president, when he received delegation, led by the former transportation minister. He said he was going to give 2027 a shot again. Obi said he would also want to contest for presidency, still on the same coalition, ADC. We can only have one, presidential candidate. We can't have two or more. Just going to be one with a running mate. Now, who is going to bow? That's the issue coalition may have at this time. But it is coalition. It's their coalition. They will sort things out. I want to believe so, because eventually it's just one person that would be their presidential candidate at this point. And now to the Nation.
Now to the Vanguard newspaper. Senate passes bill mandating 30% pre-export processing of local raw materials. NLC threatens mass action over rising poverty insecurity. Nigeria died dead before Tinubu took over. That is said by Wiki, not me.
My own Nigeria did not die.
ADC begins takeover of PDP structures in northern states. And that's all on the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
How will you say Nigeria died? Nigeria, we have over 200 million people. Nigeria did not die. When we're giving all this comment, to support, to just show our support, our allegiance to some of our leaders. Let's be careful with the words we use. Leaders, we should be very, let's project optimism out there, even as we are, talking about. Especially when we want to weigh circumstances and just show that, okay, this is the circumstances of thing, and let's not say Nigeria is not dead.
Well, still on the Vanguard newspaper, I am still in LP. That's by Peter Obi. You failed as Interior Minister. Wike tackles Aregbesola. PDP calls defectors to ADC good riddance. I am loyal to APC, that is said by Zulum. Dismisses defection rumor. That's all on the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Just to stress it again, Nigeria is not dead. Now to the Punch. 2027 coalition crisis brews as ADC chairman set terms for alliance. 10 states borrow 417 billion naira despite higher allocations. Rivers, Taraba top debt surge as 10 states account for 34% of sub-national domestic debt. Recapitalization, 5 banks hit CBN target ahead of deadline, and Nigerians unity under attack from terrorists, separatists. Tinubu They are the top stories on the Punch.
Now, the top stories on the Daily Trust for this morning. Federal government put presidential jets on sale in Switzerland. Obi insists on 2027 contest as Atiku hints at running. 39 killed in Kano, Lagos, Ogun road crashes. Leaked documents. How FCTA worker was queried, arrested and detained. Millions of Nigerians in multidimensional poverty, that's said by NLC. Nigeria cruised to 3-0 over Tunisia at WAFCON. That's the sport. Federal government fined MultiChoice 766.2 million naira for violating Data Protection Act. Boko Haram kills 9, injures 4 in Borno. And that's all on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
Now let's move to the Guardian. NLC wants against removal of labor issues from exclusive legislative list. Tariff hikes slows new phone lines activation as operators get ultimatum. More Nigerians losing faith in Tinubu's government, public institutions or reviews. Oil theft eases despite $27.7 billion losses in 23 years as operators down to badges. Tinubu orders security agencies to crush bandits. Separatist orders. Obi affirms 2027 presidential bid as VK bets against his ambition. Police warn Ogundo residents against 777 court celebration. Senate awaits certified true copy of Natasha's reinstatement order. Catholic group advocates electoral reform before 2027. Top stories on the daily. I beg your pardon, on the Guardian newspaper.
The top stories on the Nation newspaper this morning. Mark, Aragbeshola take over in conflict with ADC constitution. I'm still in Labour Party, says Obi. Natasha, I will resume tomorrow. Ethnic nationalities back Wike's demand on release of NDDC forensic reports. In Warsaw, Matara disagree on amendment of party rules, and that's on the Nation newspaper this morning.
Yeah, now back on Nigerian Tribune to bring some of the details of the stories. Tinubu to military. He said, I give you my full authority to crush terrorist bandit separatists. President Bola Tinubu has handed the Nigerian Army and other security agencies a clear marching order to go after terrorists, bandits, insurgents, and separatists threatening the nation's peace and unity. Speaking to Vice President Kashim Shettima, the grand finale of the 2025 Nigerian Army Day celebration at SEL, held at Murtala Square, Kaduna on Sunday, Tinubu declared that there should not fear or hesitate in carrying out the marching orders.
Now, on the Nation newspaper this morning, Sanwo-Olu's wife, Alabi, rally women for APC candidate. Ahead of the Saturday local government election, wife of Lagos State Governor Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu and chairman of Bariga Local Council, Kolade Alabi, have rallied the women across the council area to support the All Progressive Congress chairmanship candidates, Bukala Omokwe Adedeji and other candidates.
Yeah, please do join us on Facebook, YouTube at Vicinity 95.3 FM to catch up on the top stories in the dailies this morning. We'll be right back. Back on top stories in the dailies. Good morning. Our comrade Abdulmalik Salam Abiola is an educator and is also a language teacher, educator, research assistant at University of Alabama, United States. Founder Premium Africa Continental Service Limited. That's a great resume. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to have you. Good morning.
Good morning.
A beautiful morning to you. Yeah, Yeah, so this morning, let us begin with Senate saying they're waiting the judgment copy, that is certified true copy of Natasha's plan to return to the Senate. We know last week, with the court, Federal High Court sitting in Abuja, said Natasha Akpoti-Duan should be returned to the Senate, saying that for whatever she did, 6 months is just too much for that kind of judgment. And the suspended senator Akpoti has said she will return to the Senate. But now Senate is saying that we have to wait the certified true copy of the judgment, saying even the judgments delivered, everything was not read on the floor. And they have to be sure that that's what the court says before she is considered for reinstatement. But she has said she is going to, the Senate. Either something is done or not. What are your take on this?
Well, I think the judgment is the Federal Court has delivered their judgment, and like you said, the lawyers to the Senate, they need to see the certified true copy and to know what next action they will have to take. So for me, they have to, when they have the certified true copy, they need to decide if they want to go on an appeal. Remember, this is just a Federal High Court, so they still have the opportunity to go up to the appeal and go to maybe up to the Supreme Court. So, and maybe if they think they are not going for the appeal, then they have to comply with the decision of the Federal High Court, which is to reinstate Senator Natasha. So I think this is the beauty of the rule of law, because if you feel aggrieved, you go to the court. I think Senator Natasha has done well by going to the court to challenge suspension, and the court has now given its own verdict on this issue. So I think we should give the Senate the opportunity, as they have said, and the time frame. Bear in mind that they have limited time to.
The Nigerian Labour Congress saying there is plan to crack down on non-compliance in private sector of the new minimum wage, 70,000 naira, which even some state government is still yet to met the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira. Do you think, of course, this should apply to private sector, but at this point, we all know what we're facing due to the economic downturn in our country and other, factors involved. Is it possible, for private sector, to be able to manage their business, sticking to the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira? Because at this point, they will tell you that the government is not providing enabling environment for their business to thrive. So also bringing this on board in the private sector might not be an easy fix.
Well, I think at this age, at this year, 2025, we are still talking about the minimum wage of 77,000, if I'm correct, or 75,000.
70,000 naira.
70,000 naira.
70,000 naira. Oh my goodness. So for me, looking at the current Nigerian economy, 70,000 naira will not be able to take an average employee to take care of the basic necessity. We all know that this will not be enough. So now we are now still trying to see how we can pay it. Like, how do we pay it? I think it's not a good one for us as a country. But like you said, we need to consider a lot of things, because these private employers, these private companies, they operate within a certain context. They need to pay taxes to government. They need to pay for their electricity, water, security, and all of that stuff. So I think we may not put the total blame on those private companies who have not been able to pay this minimum wage. But I think the responsibility still lies on the government. They need to liaise and meet with these private companies and see where the government can actually help them. In advanced countries, in some cases, they give tax breaks to these companies so that they'll be able to, it will be a way of government supporting their business. Then by doing that, they will be able to police them to make sure that they also pay the minimum wage. But I think by this time, we should not be hearing about any company not paying minimum wage, because even the minimum wage is not even enough to take care of an average worker. So I think the responsibility goes back to the government, because before you can actually make some rules and make sure that people follow it. You need to put in place some enabling environment. So you need to support these companies. Make sure that you reduce the cost of their costs in terms of electricity, in terms of power, in terms of security, and other things, so that and most especially in terms of the tax, because companies pay a lot of tax to government. So, but when you support them in terms of tax and other things, I think it will be a good. Then you can now go after them and say, "Oh, we have done this for you. We have provided this for you." Then you need to be able to pay the minimum wage. I think it's a good one from the NSC, because that is basically part of their mandate. They need to see to the interest of their members, and whether you work in the public sector or in the private sector, NSC should be able to stand for you. So I think it's a good one that NSC, because before now, there is this notion that NSC is only for people that work in government offices and the likes, but it is not. There is a coalition that is meant to represent the interests of all workers in Nigeria, whether they work in the public sector or whether in the private sector. So I think it's a good one for NSC to have come out to seek for the interests of their members who work in the private sector. So let's see. This is a wake-up call for government. They need to put in place a necessary environment for these companies to be able to operate optimally and be able to pay the minimum wage.
Yeah, still on the NLC, public hearing began last week over constitution amendment of Constitution of 1999. And NLC also has warned against removal of labor issues from exclusive legislative list. That means moving forward, if this goes through, states will have to handle, labor issues, discuss payments. It will not be like when the recent minimum wage was implemented, it came from the federal government and other states had to comply. Now, if it's been removed from the exclusive legislative list, it means states will have to take care of their own civil servants and see to labor issues in their states. And the NLC President Joe Ajaero is saying that this will further cripple, labor laws. And he cited international labor, organizations saying that this is not even in support, because at this time it will you give power to state governments and then they will do whatever they like. And he's saying that they will not let this go through.
Well, I think all these issues boil down to the type of system of government that we run in Nigeria. I think in some way we can say, okay, we run a federal system of government, but when you look at it in another way, you see that most of these powers to make decisions rest on the federal government. So now we are trying to correct that in terms of feeding some responsibilities to the state, which is for me a good development, but we need to be careful in doing that, because let me first say this: the act of the constitutional review is a good one, because as we go, things are changing. Then we need to review our constitution, which is a good one. But when it comes to the issue of salaries, labor issues, and the like, I think what the federal government needs to do is, we can't take out the federal government, because at least we have some employee that work for the federal government.
Ministries and
so
agencies.
now you don't say the state government will be the one to decide on this, because the state government is not the employer for these people. It's actually the federal government. But what I think the federal government needs to do, and what NSC should be pushing for in this constitutional review, is the federal government needs to put up something like a template, an acceptable template for these state governments and other employers of labor that they need to live up to. But that does not mean it will restrict. For instance, if Osun State government decides we want to pay our employees 100,000 naira as a minimum wage, that should not be a problem. If they think they have the resources to do that, that should not be a problem. So if federal government should decide on something that has to do with labor, then it will impact state workers. So I think what the federal government should do, and what the NSC should be pushing for, is for the federal government. You can't take out the federal government totally based on the system that we practice, but you need federal government to put up something like a template, an acceptable standard for state government to work with, but they should also have the freedom to negotiate with their workers, especially state government workers. You don't expect federal government to be the one to decide on issues that have to do with state government workers. So state government should be given the opportunity to decide on their workers, but there should be a standard. Like you can't go below this standard. So and there should be a regulatory body in place to see to this. So I think NSA is concerned because of their member, which is a good one. But at the same time, they need to look into it like for the federal government to put in place acceptable standards for state government to work with. Then, if you have an acceptable standard set by the federal government, by the Federal Ministry of Labor and Productivity, then state government needs to work with this. But they should also have the freedom. They should not be hampered by the decision of federal government. If they have the ability to do more, I know there are some state government in Nigeria that have the ability to pay more than the minimum wage. So they should not say because the federal government has fixed the minimum wage for this amount, then no. What the federal government is saying is you must not go below this amount, but you can do more if you have the resources. So I think that's what the NSC should be looking at, making sure that it is stated in the review commission that the state government, they also have power, but they need to work with the standards set by the federal government. I think that would be a good one for
over the PDP structure in Yobe, Gombe, and Adamawa and some northern states. Like, what do you think about this?
Pulling more politicians.
Yes,
like the number is not enough.
Yes, like the number is not enough. They are now all the way to the northern states.
Well, the idea of coalition is actually to bring so many interests together. So if the coalition is trying to bring in more people, I think that is what coalition actually stands for. You need, let's say you have independent people that are standing alone, but we say, okay, let's come together to do this thing. So the more they have more people, the better for them to achieve their aim as the coalition. They only adopted the ADC as the political party. As you all know, in Nigeria, to be able to stand for an election, to be able to sponsor candidate, you need a political party. So that's why they adopt a political party. But that does not mean, because the coalition, they need to bring in people from different areas from the ruling party. And like I said on this show, this program last week, if you look back into just in the recent past, as early as 2014, the current ruling party, which is the APC, when it was about to be formed, it was a coalition. It was started as a coalition, bringing people together. And then they also brought people from the then ruling party, which was the PDP. So there was a faction of the PDP called the New PDP, led by some governors. So it's not something new, and it's not something bad if the coalition is seeking people, high-profile politicians and others from different political parties, including the ruling party. That is what the coalition actually stands for. But the main decision rests with Nigerians when it comes to the ballots. So what the coalition is doing is they are looking for members to be able to prove to Nigerians that they have the ability to wrestle power from the current government. But it's a good thing for them, but the final decision rests with the electorate, the Nigerians, to decide if they believe the coalition is a better alternative than what we are currently experiencing. So we should not be surprised as we move closer to the election. There will be a lot of cross-carpeting, a lot of defections from one party to another, trying to strategize ahead of the election. So that is part of the normal political process that we have always witnessed whenever election is approaching. So it is nothing new. They will get people from different areas. Some people who feel that their interests are not being taken care of in their political party might prefer to join the coalition. The coalition might feel like that the coalition will not be able to serve their own interests. They might also leave for another party. I think it's part of the normal political process when the election is approaching. So it's nothing new. As we continue to go, we see more headlines of people moving from one place, from one political party to another. So it's a good one for our democracy. Like I said last week, the good thing is about democracy is for us to have credible alternative as
Yes.
electorate to choose from. So there is nothing bad about it, and we are going to see more of it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. To another story, Wike said Nigeria is dead.
Nigeria was dead before
What-
Tinubu came
before
into power.
Tinubu's
Like, should we have
administration to power.
leaders, make such
That
bold,
word "dead," the use of the word "dead,"
statements,
yeah,
statements that are not really encouraging, is dampening to say, a country is dead before President Bola Tinubu came in. A country that has over 200 million people, and you say it was dead.
it was dead before the administration of President Bola.
Well, the FCC minister is only trying to work for his pay. That's the best way I can put it, because you don't expect a minister who is serving under this current government to say something bad. He's trying to say that for Nigerians to have sympathy for the government that he works for, which is what part of what politicians do. So it's not something new. But like you said, for those who can look back, or those who served in government prior to 2023, they will also have points to say, if the country is dead, then what do you bid on? Do you just pick up a dead country? So I don't think it's okay to use the word in quotes, say the country is dead. We all know that the country is not where we are supposed to be, and we are a developing country. So that is not something new. But to say the country is dead, no. We have a lot of ways we need to improve. I'm sure, but I think that's just a political statement. That's the way I would describe it, because if in years to come, there will be some politicians in the process of trying to gain the support of the people, they will also say, when we came in, the country was bad, it was this. That has always been the rhetoric from the politicians for them to gain to the sympathy, and for me, it's a way to cover up for their own non-performance, because if you think it's because the country is not good that we need to change government, so that's expected. So then you don't keep drawing us to the back. So I think it's a political statement that is also geared towards the 2027 election, trying to gain sympathy for the current government. So it's nothing new. It has always, politicians has always been saying that for a very long time, in a way to gain the support of the people and to put the government in a good light to the electorate. So, but to use the word dead, it may not be the correct description of our situation, because a country that has people living, that has government operations, businesses are going well, a country that boasts of the richest black man in the world. So I don't think it's an appropriate word to use to say the country is dead. We all know that the country is not in the best position, and we are a developing country. So, but we have a lot of people that are doing great things. We have a lot of youth that are doing great things in the world. So it may not be appropriate to use the word, but like I said, it's a political statement that is expected from a politician like the FCC minister, Wike. So that's what I think about that.
Yeah, so moving away from all of the political talks, now we appreciate that we've started to see adjustments in premium motor spirits, petrol pump price. We've seen marketers, according to reports on the Punch, that marketers have started to drop the price of petrol, the pump price of petrol below 900 naira in Lagos and also in Ogun State. And we want to see, these other marketers, jump on this. And I'd say that, Dangote has really proved to us that, businesses can thrive in this country. And this is to even encourage even Nigerian investors, because we often see that, creating business or doing business in this country is like you are calling trouble on yourself. But as we can see with the Naira for crude implementation that was altered at the point, and the presidency had to, call authorities, to question, and then it was finally re-implemented and all of that. And this is just a high opener that if we really create an enabling environment for businesses, like that of Dangote, of course, we can really do a lot for ourselves in this country than depending on exports, and than depending on importing crude oil, and then even importing refined petrol. What are your take on this?
It's a good news that the price, the marketers have adjusted their price to go down. I think that would be a good news for every Nigerian to hear, and that is something we have always been clamoring for. Like, since there is a competition between the marketers and the indigenous company, the Dangote, the effect we should see is the reduction in price and making sure that people are getting it easily without any problem. So, but this is not the final destination, because if you should look back, like just 2 years ago, we know how much we used to buy the products, but it went up because of because of the removal of the subsidy. So now the government should continue to do their work, especially the NNPC, which is the regulator, make sure that there is a healthy competition between these the operators, both the indigenous company, the Dangote, and the marketers, and even support other companies who are also trying to come into the sector, because the more we have this provider, the operators, the more the product will be available, and the more the competition, and I think we'll see more of the price reduction. But they still need to do more, because most time when you read about the price reduction, they only happen in maybe in major outlets, maybe the NNPC own outlets. People at the grassroots may not. In fact, at some point, people at the grassroots may be buying at a very higher price compared to what they are selling in these major companies. So I think the government, through the NNPC, they need to do more to make sure that there is compliance in terms of what the operators are selling, so that if the product is 900, for instance, in Lagos, I'm telling you, there are some communities that they might be buying it at 1,000, 1,100, even as high as 1,200. So the government, through the regulator, the NNPC, they need to do more in terms of compliance to make sure that down to the very grassroots, at the local level, people are getting the products at the right price, not an inflated price, and to make sure that they work more, that we have more operators and the price continues to go down. So it's a welcome development, it's a good news, and it's something I'm happy to hear about, but it is not the final destination. We need the price to go down more, and we need the compliance all across the country, not only in Lagos or in major cities.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Abdul-Malik Salman Abiola, for joining us this morning. He is an educator and research assistant at University of Alabama, United States, and a founder of Premium Africa Continental Service Limited. Thank you for your time.
It's always my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I wish you a good day.
Same here,
have
sir.
a good
Same to you,
day.
sir.
Same here. Bye. Thank you for joining us on Newspaper Review this morning on the Darling Station, Vicinity 95.3 FM. It's another week. Let's go out there and win. Don't beat them. If you can beat them, beat them. Not physical fight, Do the needful and get above, or what you've been doing, be better. And if you cannot join them, stay on your own, and you can do it alone. Trust me. I am Oluwafunke Israel, and the producer of Newspaper Review is Mujib Olakunle. Thank you for always supporting this program.
Yeah, like Forget said, don't involve in any physical fight. Like I forget that say we should do this thing.
Don't beat them, or not really fight though.
So yeah, go out there and be productive. It's Monday, the beginning of another week, and like people say, is how you begin your week. That's how your week will end. So be sure to go out there and be productive. I am Aisha Ibrahim, and thanks for joining the newspaper review for this morning.
Yeah, until we come here again on the morning show, you'll be good out there. Bye for now.
We are your connection to the sounds that surround